Hello everybody, I'm DerTebbers. This is your Spin Tires mod spotlight. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to cover two things that you can do. Well, one is how to mod, because some people have asked. There are videos out there, but I'm going to give it a go myself. And also a little change that you can make in an XML file to make some more logs, or fewer logs, or whatever you want to do. Some of you might know, if you follow me on Twitter, that I built a log bridge, and it took me 8 long logs to do that. And someone commented, wow, that took you forever. That was like 4 trips. Except it wasn't 4 trips for me. Change this truck. We're just gonna take this guy here. Yeah, start. Because there's really no reason to worry the long truck. So let's go get some logs really quick. And then I'll show you how many logs I truly get. Let's run over a tree. So this is, you can download a mod to do this, but I've found it's just better not to bother. Just do it yourself, because it feels better when you do things yourself, you know? So let's stop. Medium logs, load up. All right. So we have our medium logs, and usually when we drop medium logs, we get a few logs. Well, let's drop our load. I've got a few more logs. Just a couple. In fact, that should be about 20 logs that I just spawned in. How in the world did I do that? And here we are at the desktop, and a bunch of screens are open. We're going to talk about what we need to do to mod these things, and to show you how you can add more logs into your game. So to start with, let's minimize that and that. In your Steam library, Steam Apps Common Spin Tires, you will find media.zip. That is all of the assets necessary to create the game. Very, very, very first thing you do is you will create a copy of this, and you will name it media.back. That is a backup. This is my original media file with no modifications made to it. That means at any point that I put in a mod and it goes completely poorly and everything falls apart and the game doesn't load, which has happened, I can delete media.zip and restore this to a .zip file. So if you do any modding, back up your media file. If you don't, you're going to have to uninstall and reinstall the game. Now, you notice I have another media file here. This is because I found that these mods work, or I like them. So once I've got them in there and I got them stabilized, I created a zip file, a 7-zip file. So I just went right click and I used my 7-zip to create a 7-zip. You could use this to create a back as well. And then I just named it to remind myself what mods were in here. So if I add another mod in here and everything breaks, then I have this. Additionally, if I have to completely reinstall the game, which has happened, I merely take the 7-zip file out, put it on my desktop, delete the game, restore the game, and then bring it in and restore it so it overwrites the media.zip, and then boom, all my mods are in again. So that's the very first thing. Now, let's talk about making a change to the number of logs generated. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click into media.zip. Then we're going to go into classes, trucks, and inside here, there's all the XML files. It's the beauty of this game. They're all XML files. So we go to long load medium, or load logs medium. I want to change this. I want this to spawn me fewer logs than what I spawned in. What I can do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to copy it to my desktop, which is funny because I've hidden my icons so I can't actually see it. Then I'm going to find my icons. There is my load logs medium. And I'm going to edit it with Notepad++. I'll put a link to Notepad++ down below. I've used this before. I absolutely love this as a simple XML tool. Manual load right here is set to 20. Now by default, I believe it's set to 3. So if I wanted to load fewer, say I just want to load 10, Now I've saved that. When I spawn in the logs, when I drop the load, it's going to drop 10 instead of 20. Okay, but I have to put it back in the game. So I have load logs medium. I just take it, bring it back. It's going to ask me to copy and replace. I'm going to say, yes, do that. It's going to copy that in, compress it, replace it. Boom. Now we'll go in the game and we will spawn in some medium logs. All right, we're back in the game. I started a new game, came over here in the Jeep to pick this up. Let's go get our logs. And we should spawn in 10 this time instead of 20. There is an upper limit, however. Now you can do this with the rock mod that I showed last time or any of the logs, but there's an upper limit of the number of physical logs that can be spawned in the game before the game starts removing logs. Just something to be aware of. I think it's around 100, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, there we go. There's our medium logs. Oop, let's drop them. And notice that's about 10, so much less than we had last time. We don't have logs falling over the side and everything. So more of a likely number. Need to place 6 more. Really? Okay, well, whatever. So there you go. That's how you can use the XML modification using Notepad++ to add or remove the number of logs you have spawned in. You can make this ultra hard by removing all the logs that spawn in, or you can add a bunch of logs. Do note there is that upper limit that we talked about. Also note, hopefully you've watched this far, also note this is very easy to break your game. Very easy to break your game. If you don't back up and you break your game, I told you so. So I'm going to say there. Now the next question is, how do I get these awesome trucks? How do I get these suckers in the game so that I can play around with stuff like the F350 Brute? Well, let's hop back out of the game and I'll show you how to add the F350 into your game. All right, so we spawned in medium logs. We changed how many we spawned, which is great if you're trying to do something specific. Now the question is, how do I truly modify my game? Well, to modify my game, I sort of alluded to it. We're going to be changing the media.zip file. So this .zip file is what gets changed. Here's the Brute right here, the F350. So I've downloaded it. I'm going to go ahead and extract it here. So now I have this folder, and it's actually going to tell us where to locate all the files. So media. Okay, so I'm going to have to be in media, in classes, in models, okay? Then I would take this and I would drag it over here and let it go and replace it if I so desired. We'll just go ahead and do that for now. Okay, so I've loaded log medium F350. Now I'll go back one to classes, go to trucks, and then we just take everything and we copy it in. Now here's an important step here. I could just take all this stuff and copy it in. What it will do is it will replace the ZIL truck, which is what I have done. That is that blue truck. But if I didn't want to replace the ZIL truck, all I have to do is change this name. So in the actual game, we have Moz, Moz2, we have Kraz up here as well, somewhere, there it is, Kraz, we have Kamaz, and we have Uaz, Ural, there we go, and Zil. Whatever this is what gets replaced in the game. So if I don't want this to be the Zil, if I wanted to replace, say, the Moz, all I have to do is change the name to Moz. Now, if I were to copy this in, which I'm not going to do because that's going to screw everything up, but if I copy this in, then the Moz gets replaced by the F350. Very important. There are some mods out there that they're not going to give you which vehicle is going to replace. Some mods will say something like that, f350.xml. And in the help file, it will tell you, rename F350 XML to whichever truck you want to replace. So you'll just come in here, you'll rename this to whatever you want, and then drag all of this into your trucks, classes trucks area, replace as necessary, and then your vehicle will be in. But we're not done, there's more. You have to go to the wheels. You're going to drag the wheels into the classes. Right there. Now, we're done with classes now. We've got all the classes done. We go back to media, and we go into meshes, trucks, meshes, trucks. Now, if in meshes trucks, it's a directory, drag the entire directory over. You see Brute 350 and Brute Jeep XJ, but you also see all of this stuff for Kamaz and Kraz and all of that. So if we're in trucks, which we are, we drag whatever is in here, directory or otherwise, over, replace as necessary to get that piece in. And we go back, we would put in the sound. Again, that's a directory. I know that because I've done this before. Sound engine. There we go. There are the engine sounds, but if you drag over Power Stroke, that's what you just do. You just drag the whole directory over. That's it. And you do this for all of the various pieces that are in here. You drag them all over here. Directory, if it is a directory, just drag it over. Once that's done, and because I have not uncompressed, I never uncompressed my media.zip, I just accessed it directly because that's a default function of Windows now. Because I just accessed it directly, it automatically compresses, handles all the compression for me. I don't have to think about that. I do have to uncompress my mod, but I don't have to uncompress my media.zip file. Once I've done that, then my mod is in the game unless there's something in the README file that tells me to do one more step. There are some mods out there that will ask you to remove your mesh cache. Right there. Remove your mesh cache, you have to go into a hidden directory of Windows. It is in users, your name here, whatever your computer name is, app data, roaming, spin tires. And they might ask you to remove the mesh cache. You could just delete the mesh cache. It gets recreated when the game starts. Also of note, when you put in a mod, the game will not keep your progress. Just remember that. So now we've got some mods. Let's go play in some mud. Modding spin tires is nowhere near as easy as Farming Simulator. It is even harder than modding Euro Truck, which isn't exactly the easiest. Spin tires has some serious limits. Hopefully the game developers will fix that over time and we'll be able to get mods installed easier. Maybe even spawn a few extra trucks in here. But until then, the steps that I outlined are how you're going to add mods into your game of spin tires. So you can play around with stuff like this crazy 350, the Jeep Cherokee XJ, or even that Land Rover I did last time. Just remember, as I said at the very beginning, back up your media file. If you don't back up your media file, very likely you're going to damage the game to the point you're going to have to delete it, reinstall it. That might not be a terrible thing, unless you have a slower internet connection and you have to download the sucker. So be safe, back up the media file first. Then, go get some cool mods, like this 350 Brute, like the XJ, like the Kamaz and the Rocks, whatever you choose. Throw them in the game, and have fun getting muddy in spin tires. Till next time when I'll have an actual truck to show you, or maybe a car, or maybe a thing. I don't remember, and I don't know. But until then, I've been DerTebbers with your Spin Tires Mod Spotlight. That was more like a how-to than anything else. Till next time, stay muddy out there, folks.